What's going on, guys? I'm Zachary Gray, and today we're going to be out here looking for moccasins. Very common pit viper here in South Louisiana, and hopefully we'll get to see one today. Let's go. Growing up in South Louisiana, I've gotten to explore many different environments and learn about a whole stack of different wildlife. While looking for snakes, I'd say the species that I find the most is the water moccasin. Also known as the cottonmouth, these snakes have a serious reputation and are generally pretty hated for being such a common pit viper. On today's adventure, we're going to be looking for a cottonmouth. Typically not a long search, but with the river flooded, many snakes are going to be displaced. There's a little snake. Yo, check this out. It's not a moccasin, but they're kind of a look-alike. You're heating up. That's pretty funny. That's a little baby water snake. Check him out. Kind of had his body all flattened out. Woo! Because he's heating up on this little gravel road. Got a little bit of an orange belly. You can see why people would mix these up for moccasins. They do look kind of similar, but the head and some of the coloration, if you're very used to seeing these snakes, the coloration does look very different. It's a little bit skinny, but he's very pretty. These snakes actually have something called an anticoagulant in their saliva. It's not really comparable to venom, but it'll definitely make their bites hurt a little bit more than is typical. Now, these are actually known to be the largest water snake species in the United States. This is obviously a baby one, so not very big. They've got big wonky eyes. They're a pretty terpy snake overall, but pretty common out here. Very easily seen. We're going to go ahead and get him off the road and keep looking for our target snake. Alright, see you, little buddy. He's facing this way, which kind of makes sense. Got the water this way. Put him down by the water. Buddy. Put the water with you. Dang, he is just gone. Many of the snakes around here are going to be moving around, looking for new hunting grounds and places to hide. But another viper species commonly found here likes to make its home a bit more upland out of the floodplains. Very similar to cottonmouths, these snakes oftentimes get up and around buildings and are super camouflaged. It's Copperhead. Now, I don't want to disturb him because this is really interesting. You can see it's still springtime. Now, today is a hot day for the start of spring, but you can see that he would have crawled out from under this little crevice right here, and he's just kind of flattened out, laid out in the sun. He's not very fast right now. He's not going to react to, see? I can hit the ground. He's not really going to move at all. He's perfectly alive. Very dark colored for this area. I don't typically see him this dark here. And I also don't typically see them out and about like this. And that's kind of one of the things I like about this time of year is you can find snakes out and about, but they're not super active and like jittery to get out of your way. So you can kind of take this moment to look at them really well. You would find a moccasin, a racer, a king snake, any other snake just like this. So if you look up here real quick, this is typically where I'd actually be seeing quite a few moccasins. And it's all completely underwater, these little floodplains here. This is typically where I'd hike for them, and it's just completely underwater. So we're going to head back to one of the little floodplains right over here that should still be high enough to have some snakes, but not completely dry, because moccasins are aquatic. You know, I get a lot of y'all ask about bugs. I'm not sure if you can see it right now. I'm trying to get stable shots. My patience is being tested. Ooh! Yes. You're still not what we're after, but I like these. I like these, so we're gonna film it anyway. Check that out. Little baby speckled king snake. Beautiful one. He's very pretty. Now, fun fact about these snakes is they've actually been known to eat other snakes, and they'll even eat moccasins. It's pretty interesting. This one's gorgeous. Look at all that speckling he's got. He's actually got something in his belly. He's probably got a little animal or something in there. While these snakes are known for eating other snake species, they will in fact eat pinkies of those who try to film them. It's very common. Now, these snakes aren't typically aggressive, but this one's a little bit bitey, must on me. It's kind of a typical king snake attitude. Black and yellow, got a little bit of orange on him there. Beautiful snake. Not super common, but I definitely wouldn't call him an uncommon species. I see a few a year, and it's interesting he was hanging out under that little log. They will hide in logs, standing logs. They'll hide under old debris, and you'll oftentimes see them out this time of year. You'll actually start seeing them along edges out in the open. This one is very pretty. I mean, look at that snake. That is just awesome. Little baby one. These guys get really big. These snakes can probably get 5 to 6 feet long. So, beautiful little king snake. Once again, not what we're looking for. We're looking for moccasins, so we're gonna go ahead and put this little snake back and keep looking. See you, little guy. Back under your log. Awesome little snake. What a snake. Probably one of the most pleasant species to find out here. Now this area doesn't have nearly as much water, so moccasins should be a lot easier to spot here, especially along bases of trees or under brush piles. Check this out. There's a moccasin. How do you traverse this, you little snake? Hello. You're a little guy. Die. Hello. Hello, little moccasin. So this here would be a western moccasin. There's actually 3 different kinds. We get the eastern moccasin, you know, obviously east of here. Then there's the Florida moccasin, and then what we get here in Louisiana, as well as Texas, is the western moccasin. They're actually one of the duller colored of the moccasins. This is a little one. Do not leave. I'm still talking about you, my friend. As you can see, they're not very aggressive. He's just kind of trying to leave. He doesn't like me messing with him too much. He was kind of out cruising around. I guess he's hunting. This time of year, in the evening, you'll see this snake actively hunting, but a large portion of the day you'll see him just kind of coiled up in one little spot waiting for one little unsuspecting frog, lizard, fish, whatever. But they will actively hunt for prey. Now this isn't a snake that I'd ever want to touch or tail. They're so small and fat. They're actually a fairly athletic snake, believe it or not. And it could definitely be pretty bad. They are mostly hemotoxic. They do have some cytotoxins in their venom. Venom from these snakes is actually pretty complicated. We're still learning a lot about it. They're fairly derpy on land, honestly. If you put them up on land, they're kind of this fat little sausage snake that has a rough time moving around. They're actually very well adapted for water and floodplains. These floodplains, which most animals are pretty bad at traversing, moccasins are very good at. They look a lot like a water snake. Ways you can tell the difference: they do have a different shaped head. And by shape, I don't mean that diamond head. I mean that they've got a fatter noggin in general, because non-venomous snakes will spread out their head and look like a venomous snake, whereas this snake just kind of has a fat noggin in general, and they've got that kind of bigger nose. There's just kind of a more defined facial features than your regular water snake. They are going to have those keeled scales. Of course, other water snakes will have that. They're a much fatter bodied snake, and they have a little bit more of a distinct patterning than other water snake species and other things like that that look kind of similar to them. It can be pretty difficult to tell these moccasins from other snakes, but being as I've been doing this for years, it's pretty much instant for me unless I get a very weirdly colored one, in which case you're never going to see me grabbing these snakes. That's why I always keep a snake hook with me, to where if there's ever a snake that I can't identify, I can always pick it up with the hook first. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one we did recently with a copperhead, talking about the differences between venomous and non-venomous snakes. We really hope you enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time. We're going to go ahead and release this snake right now. There you go, baby. Back to your little floodplain where I was all stuck on it. Alright.